McMurray, you like that? And I stuck that big old N McMurray in there because I don't have.
My name's in the biggest print.
I lost my logo for you when I lost my hard drive. Evening, everybody. How's everybody out there in YouTube land? Sorry we're a little bit late. We're still Kev is out on the road. Not sure if he's going to make it. I know he's trying to get back. I don't know if Mr. Wardrobe's going to pop on. He didn't say yay or nay. So we'll see. Maybe he'll pop on here. I hope he does because I like to use his BGG skills to bring stuff up. But I thought maybe tonight we would talk a little bit of World War II and maybe some options. Maybe there's some players out there that want to get into it, or maybe there's some players out there that maybe they want to know games that are at different tiers, from just being something easy to play to something that just takes you half your life to play. Squad leader.
I was waiting for that.
Well, actually, I got one that's even worse on the tip of my tongue, but I'm going to save that for Super Crunchy later on. We got 4 questions we're going to try to answer, and hopefully we do a decent job with it. And, maybe some of you guys come away better with some World War II stuff. I want to shout this out real quick before we get going. Vince Cooper. I'm going to do a review on this. I know Tony's playing it. I know Gimp's playing it. Vince Cooper was kind enough to send me a copy of his. I'm going to call it a book game or a magazine game. All right. And I'll make a light comment about this thing. This is Antietam. All y'all out there know that this is not my kind of thing. And I almost felt bad when Vince said if I wanted to get a preview of it. And I said, yeah, because I'm like, man, I got it. I'm like, man, I'm not going to touch this. Let me tell you something. I did. And I'm actually having fun with it. He's got quite a little bit of depth. It's not overbearing, but he's got some good rules in this thing. And it's actually, I've got it out on my coffee table. I played like 4 turns for the second time, and it's actually quite fun to play. I don't know if it's out there yet on Amazon that you can buy it or not. But that's where I know this came from. I guess they print them as they're requested and sends it off to you. But I'm actually having a little fun with this thing. I'm going to move it back here to my game room. So, yeah, Civil War game, book game, magazine. It's kind of similar to Herman's. Was it Magnificent Style or something like that?
Yeah, it's out there, $15 on Amazon.
Okay, there you go. So it's for that price, guys. The thing's really fun, and it's got 5 or 6 different levels of play. So really from easy mode down to a super elite. So
you gotta make your own counters. That's
but I did see he made a post where I want to say he's having the stuff put together where you can buy it. With the components made, so and they look pretty good. Tony's done a nice job over Tony's Board Life with his, putting his up and making his counters, putting them on nice cubes and everything. He bought a bunch of stuff to do it. I'm not going to go that far, but I like I said, we'll say I've been having some fun playing. Like sit down on my coffee table, man, out in front, watch the hockey game, and play this. You know, so it goes.
Nice. Are you playing it at super elite level?
No, I'm playing the middle one, the normal regular.
Unbelievable. All right,
and I've already wiped
nightmare mode.
First waves of Yanks that tried to charge the lane. I've already destroyed them all. So how we doing today, Mo? How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Just watching some hockey at the same time we're doing this because our season got underway tonight. So they're on the road in Wichita, and I'm watching the boys. They're down 2-1 after 2. So hopefully they can have a stronger third period and come back, tie it up, and come home with the win.
And I'm sure you mean Wichita, Kansas, right?
Yes, Wichita, Kansas.
I want to make sure there wasn't another one somewhere. Ross, how about you? How you doing?
I'm good. Ready to talk a genre of games that I don't play. So that'll be perfect.
I've been talking about that all week. I was talking with Todd about that the other day. I said, I'm not going to drag Ross through the mud too much, but
I mean, I've played. I'm interested in World War II. I've played World War II games. We'll talk about ASL, which I played a ton, but I just haven't been in them deep lately. But I'm excited to hear about what's going on because I would like to dip back in actually.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I know we're going to talk about one too that I think you recently got interested in. Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
We are doing quite well.
We were debating while we were waiting for you to join in. Like I hope Todd shows up. We were just going to turn it over to miniatures and let you just talk for 2 hours about all the different levels of miniatures you play World War II, and we'd be good. The show would be good.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you can start with
Okay, cut.
Time out. We're not ready. We're not there yet.
All right, Chuck, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you on here. I know Camp's not, but I think Camp's out here wandering around in here in Manassas somewhere. Tim Zales, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, Dave. David Imperato. Did I say that right, David? And you say Paul Lynn. Is there 2 of you there? Right? I know there's got 18 of you on there. If you're lurking in the background, say hello. Let us know you're out there. Dan Tim. See you on here. William Bird, Paul Dangle. Good evening, guys. How y'all doing? Hey, got a guy named Mo on here.
That's
Chris
me.
Long. Hey, Chris, by the way, my second favorite hockey team is the Senators. So I'll tell you that right now. Jeff Edwards, good evening.
Good. Well, you should root for my team.
Well, yeah, you did send me how I could
Yeah.
track. How do I get
Well,
me a hat?
I mean, we're the affiliate of the Belleville Senators and also Ottawa. So
I remember
same
when I
family.
used to wear ball caps to play golf in.
Mhm.
It was all hockey hats.
Mhm.
And, I love my caps hat. I love the caps with the Screaming Eagle, the black and the gold when
Yeah.
they do that for about 2 years. But that Ottawa Senators hat, I loved that hat. I used to wear that damn thing out. So
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
love it. Joey. All right, guys. So here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do tonight. So let's now we got a little touch of everything here. I mean, everybody plays different things. Mo hits a lot of different gaming environments or genres for gaming, different types of games. Ross he's been around for a while, and he's a lot of GBACW stuff right now, American Civil War stuff. But he's got some World War. There we go. Oh, nice too. He's got some World War II stuff that he's played in the past and some stuff he's messing with now. Y'all know me. Y'all know what I like to play. And of course, we got Andrew on here because I knew we couldn't do this without somebody in their miniatures knowledge. And you want miniatures knowledge? I've watched a lot of people out there that their YouTube channels do miniatures, but I still have not met somebody that has such a vast knowledge of systems for miniatures than McMurray. It's massive. So what I want to do tonight, we got 4 questions we're going to discuss. All right. The first question is going to be, how do we get someone involved into World War II games? All right. World War II gaming. What are the options? What are the levels of depth in gaming World War II? I got my whiteboard over here. I'm looking at it. And then maybe we'll talk about some good entry-level games, some good intermediate games, some good advanced games, and then maybe some super crunchy games. So super crunchy. Oh, Paul Lynn, the comedian. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? Is that what we're referring to? You're muted, Mo.
The center square.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. God, yeah. Hollywood Squares. My God.
Yep. That was classic right there.
Showing our age there, buddy. All right. Yep. So I'm a new gamer out there. And we're gonna go, Mo, we're gonna start with you, I think, on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say McMurray for last on this one. I'm a new gamer. I want to play World War II. And you're the only person I know that plays games. How are you going to pull me into playing World War II games?
Well, I mean, the first thing that you want to obviously ask is what is the person's interest? Because you don't want to, they're going to go in with maybe some kind of a preconceived notion as to what they're going to play. They may think that, oh, I want to be like in the war movies where you see the big sticks and they're moving tanks and, aircraft around. It's like, okay, well, then you want to play something like Axis and Allies. That will give them a similar frame of reference from what they think in their head on the table. But you can also play something similar to that, but on a much simpler and smaller scale, like Memoir 44, which is a very easy game to get them into. If they don't want to get into any sort of tactical thing, you can get them more into something like Quartermaster General, which is a very strategic game. It's not really a war game per se, but it's a strategy game that's, based in World War II with a World War II theme. So that would be one way to get them. If they want to play, but they don't want to know what they're up against, then I would say a simple block game would be good. Something like maybe one of the Holdfast series. Like there's a Holdfast East Front, I think. There's Holdfast Korea about the Korean War. But I know this is World War II, but they're both simple block games, and you're playing. I think the Soviets end up like 2 steps or something like that, maybe 3 steps. The Soviets are 2 steps, and the Germans are 3 and 4 steps in those games, and you're just turning them as you do when you take a hit. But that's what I would say for a couple of simple games to get somebody into World War II stuff.
Yeah, I like the Axis and Allies thing. That's and plus that's going to sort of haze over into how McMurray approaches what he plays. Ross, let's go like way back when you were back in the days of game when you were ASL. If you had somebody that maybe just came up to you and you realize, hey, look, they'd like to start playing some games. Push your ASL aside. Back in the day, what would you have used to pull somebody into World War II gaming?
Yeah, similar to Mo. I mean, the question to start with is like what someone is into or interested in. For me, with World War II games, there are thousands of World War II war games at different levels. And what hooks me are the maps and the places involved. So finding out if someone is into like something as broad as Pacific Theater, East Front, North Africa, whatever it might be. You could start there and find a game at the right level based on the kind of theater of interest. But some people are also like, they've seen Saving Private Ryan, and you want to, you know, narrow down even more. You want to focus on Normandy or whatever. Like that to me is the best way, is pick a place that someone's interested in, and you have multiple game choices then to cut across playing the same kind of area or region, depending on how zoomed in you want to get.
Except if they say Battle of the Bulge, then you're like, oh crap.
Yeah,
Sure. I got one.
Yeah, and I mean, I mean, who doesn't know? You know, who's not going to know? Even somebody that probably doesn't play or is even ventured down the road of playing anything associated with a war game, or they're still, I don't know, there might be some I know some youngsters today that wouldn't know what I was talking about if I said D-Day or the Battle of the Bulge or Market Garden or something like that. There's Mr. Wardrobe. Todd, evening, buddy.
What's up?
So, I mean,
He's in uniform too.
Yes. Yeah, I should have took off the old grays here. But yeah, East Front series from Decision. They're going to know that stuff, you know. Now, okay, they may not know things on the East Front because it was so vast. You know, probably a good number of them are going to know. They're going to hear Stalingrad, and they're probably going to know what that is. All right, and that's, you know, maybe they're going to know what they've heard the term Barbarossa. But that's vast and spread from what, a 1600 kilometer front. So there's so many different things in there. But like I say, if you said something, you're going to say, well, you know, hey, well, do you want to play a D-Day game, or do you want to play a Battle of the Bulge game? That person's probably they're probably going to say, oh, I've heard of that. Yeah. And then once again, we can reference a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that'll say, you know what, we can sort of create something like that in a game. And then, you know, one of us is going to know a game that might give us reference to, but come on, D-Day and Bulge, you know, and I'm still going to say to this day, it's like Gettysburg. You can never have enough of those games. Keep making them. Everybody keep making them.
True.
Andrew, I want to play World War II miniatures. I've never done it before, buddy.
All right. We can all mute now.
You do. Well, I was actually even thinking
I'll stay on.
games. Very similarly, just going along with the same stuff is exactly that. Figure out what they want to do. What I've had a lot of success with both miniatures and then lighter war games is like finding a movie that somebody likes. Mainly, honestly, the last one that worked really well was Fury. And then playing like tank on tank, or in the miniature side of things, What a Tanker, and letting them be Fury.
Yeah, well, you could actually, in your world, though, if I told you, hey, man, I want to storm the beaches like Tom Hanks and Tom Sizemore and all those guys did in Saving Private Ryan, you could create that.
Yeah, I just painted up that beach landing forced in 15 mil from Battlefront. So, yes, we could do that. That, or give me a couple weeks and we can do that.
And not only that, you could build the beach. You could build the cliffs. You could build the bunkers.
And if not, there's 8 million battle mats out there, including one at the local store that we used. That's perfect for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but in all fairness, though, when it comes to miniatures gaming, nothing has the ooh-ah factor than real terrain on the board, along with the miniatures. That definitely draws people in.
Correct. And 3D printing is wonderful for that. 3D printing has done wonders to improve that accessibility. That being said, yeah, no, you're hitting all the right things on the right head. Invariably, if somebody wants to play World War II, they probably have an interest in World War II. So then it really just is isolating. And then if they've got some sort of a gaming background, whether it's Euro games or whatever, to a certain extent, you might be able to kind of modulate where you're starting in terms of complications if somebody's familiar with the idea of a board game that has rules and stuff. Or if they're not, find something simple. Play, like I said, with Fury, we played Lock and Load. Their tank on tank West Front. Awesome, perfect, done.
So that'll be we'll probably talk about that when we get down to question 4.
Oh, okay.
Mo, you remember doing sand tables?
Oh yeah. Using micro armor on sand tables.
Yeah, that was the closest thing I can think of in the military to, in computer game. I mean, when they came along, computer games were a great thing. now, Todd, I remember a while back, you did a series of videos
Hell yeah.
and you were
Little
like,
Toddy.
yeah. So I'm telling her, if y'all go, y'all get if you get the opportunity, go. You got to dig a little bit because it's been about 4 or 5 years, I think.
It's a playlist, isn't it, Todd?
Yeah, he's got a playlist there
Yeah.
somewhere where he did this. I can't. What did you call it again? What was the series called?
I'll look it up. I don't remember. Just so long ago. I've done so much since then.
He loves when you bring up little Toddy. You silly pickle.
Well, Todd, if you were going to bring somebody in that's never played a game, doesn't know anything about playing games, and I want to learn I want to play something, a World War II game. How are you going to drag them in?
Well, I mean, pretty similar to what all the guys have said here, but the cool thing is, you brought up Battle of the Bulge and D-Day. Axis and Allies actually have versions of those games where it's just those battles, and I've only played the D-Day one. It was interesting. There's not a whole lot of things you can do there, but it gets you kind of playing, and it's got the miniatures, which is cool. But I've heard the Bulge one's actually pretty good, and they've reprinted it, and it's for sale. You can buy it at miniature market right now. But so I think that's kind of a fun way to play. Like, I saw Ryan, I saw Band of Brothers, and there's that whole 2 episodes series on Battle of the Bulge. Like, oh, well, here we can play this here. So, so far I don't think there's much different than what the guys have said here, really. And I like, McMurray's thing with miniatures. There's the struggle with, it's the same with board games. With miniatures, there's so many. It's really best to find people who've got the miniatures and start asking around and playing their games they've got, because they've got the minis, they're ready to go. But anyway, there's a bunch of good miniature games that are good.
Set a game out a couple weeks and work your dick off.
Interesting. I don't know if I do that, but okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think I would go with what the guys have said here. Hexy. Nothing.
Yeah, and there's a ton of. I'm trying to go back into the 70s and the late 60s, and I see people will post. You remember the old, send us $1, we'll send you 100 soldiers and these tanks and all this that, and I know a lot of it was gimmick stuff, but I can remember a few of those did show up, but it was so hard to scrounge together $1.50 or $2 or something like that and get that stuff sent off to you. But I can remember, and I've seen some people do YouTube videos where they saved that stuff. I think I watched one. And I think it was Bill Molyneux with Bill's Wargaming World. I think he just put it up recently with some other guy that has saved that stuff. And he had an old Western one that all the stuff was still in its packages in the box. And they opened that stuff up and were showing the stagecoaches and stuff like that. And I remember those things as a kid. I remember having little Napoleonic figures and the cavalry and the hussars and stuff, and sitting them down on the rug in my bedroom and shooting with rubber bands when I was a kid. That was wargaming to me. And of course, until SPI and Avalon Hill reached up and slapped me in the face, and I started learning how to play those things. And that, but today, the one thing I think I would not do if I was bringing somebody in is I would definitely not take them to like a complete strategist store and say, let's go look around. Let's find something you like, because you'd be in there for a fucking week trying to.
Yeah.
Well,
not only that, but you get drawn in by cover art, dog.
Yeah.
I do bad.
Well, no, not you, but especially newer gamers who don't understand that, man, some of these, they look super cool, but Jesus, man, we're biting something off here. And you see it with a lot of people who start new, right? Like, or people that play on one side and then swap to the other, whether it's miniatures to board games or even vice versa. Sometimes it doesn't seem like there's that much travel the opposite direction, but yeah, sometimes you get drawn in by the cover art or something like that, and that can be vicious.
Well, I'm definitely going to say that if I wanted to, and I'm definitely not going to be the authority on this, that if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Jeff, I want to play a war game. Can you set me up? Let's teach me and take me into the World War II gaming world and get me started." I'm not going to lie. I'm going to walk into my room here. I'm going to grab a handful of my miniatures and say, "Okay, let's go out on the freaking kitchen table and, we'll find something, and we'll just maybe it's just something simple as, hey, you've got 10, I've got 10. Here's 2 dice, or here's 1 dice. If, we'll alternate. You roll a dice. If you get a 6, you hit and kill one of my guys. maybe just to get somebody, understanding the basics of how that was. So, and that would probably be the easiest. I'm certainly not going to drag out one of my Hex Encounter games and
I
sit it
need
on the table.
Get you a copy of 1 Hour War Games.
See, and I know when we get down to number 4, we're gonna. McMurray's he'll be able to talk an hour on this when we get down to question number 4. All right, let's get out of here. So we kind of tapped on some of this, but let's go with Ross. Let's start with you on this one. And this is really going to be gaming in general, but because we're going to talk about the availability of types of games out there. But what are some of the options out there? I'll tell you what, let's make this a little fun. Let's go back to the 70s. What were the options for playing war games in the 70s? What types of games were out there?
Good luck,
Ross. I'm out.
Yeah, you don't want to start with me. I wasn't born.
It's the gray hair thing. That's what there had to be. I mean, it wasn't just ASL. There had to be other, not games in general, but just different systems maybe that you saw when you were first starting. Well, that would have been what the 50s.
Maybe not the 70s, Ross. Maybe the 90s.
Yeah, I came from Eurogaming background. So I started when the kind of Eurogame craze started in the, I guess that's like late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
When Puerto Rico, Settlers of Catan, those games were all big. And then I kind of found my way into being interested in history, being like, oh, there's this whole world of war games. There were a lot of great war games then. And I had started with World War II gaming with Memoir 44, which Mo mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Great entry point. I think we can talk about this here in a minute. I think there's better entry points now for like that kind of level of game. But I started there. I skipped over Axis and Allies. I thought that was all like Ameritrash games that were not interesting, despite also playing Memoir 44. Still haven't played those kind of big scale games like that. But I'm trying to think what else was out then. I got hooked on Memoir 44 and then was like, cool, I like World War II. This is interesting. And then because of who I am, I found Squad Leader or Advanced Squad Leader and went immediately to that and I skipped about 20 steps in the middle.
Jesus.
So so I don't know if I have good insight on like what else there was or what else.
Well, I mean, okay, so you just hit on 2 right there. You just hit on even a suck. So Hex Encounter. It's interesting because I've watched Todd do Memoir 44 type stuff. Okay. And I've watched a lot of other people do that. I never got to go down that road. I don't think I ever played anything like that. And that seems to me like that would be, I mean, that's a system out there that it's still popular, much like ASL, still popular today. So we just hit on 2 there, Axis and Allies. You got miniatures and you got areas. And then you got ASL and Memoir, you got hexes. Memoir 44, you got miniatures. Okay. Todd, how about you? What, back in the, okay,
just say our day that we were young.
Yeah, our day. We'll say our day. What options, and I'm not gaming specific or games specific, but how many different like realms or options were out there for people that you could pull them into World War II gaming with back in the heyday?
Well, so the very first time I knew about it was I found this is almost like finding porn, but to me almost better. I found my dad's couple of war games he had stashed away somewhere in a cabinet. I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And it was Panzer Leader and Tactics 2 from Avalon Hill, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you can play these things!" I love World War II movies and stuff.
Now, Tactics 2, is that squares? Does that have squares instead of
squares? And it's blue and red.
We got squares now. All right.
Yep, squares. So, yeah, we got squares covered. Blue and red is who you played on an imaginary continent or land. Pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of cool things you could do with that game. It was pretty fun, actually.
Even had nukes.
Yep, you could nuke. You could do all that stuff. And beach landings. You could do all the stuff you'd want to do. In fact, and it was really easy. Like even young Toddy could figure that one. Young Toddy even had a hard time with Panzer Blitz. And Panzer Leader, but let's not get into that, my IQ levels. But so this would be the 80s, and it wasn't obviously as easy to find stuff then as it is now. And so there was one game store in Wichita. Speaking of Wichita and hockey, which is where I was raised, that area. What's the name of the team in Wichita now? Is it still
Thunder? The Wichita Thunder.
Okay, still the Thunder. Okay.
Yeah.
I used to sell popcorn at those games when I was 14. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So I made money to buy games. Anyway, there was a store that had a lot of war games in there, but my mom had to drive me there, and it's way deep into Wichita, and I was from a town like 20 minutes away. Anyway, my point is, the boxes were just amazing to me, and mainly Avalon Hill. They probably had SPI stuff and stuff, but I knew Avalon Hill. So to me, I was just like, well, I know what that is. I know what that's about. I know what SPI is about. I think I probably bought a Victor game, but the options were obviously limited, but they were all over the place. Like now, just a lot fewer of them. And the thing that I always find fascinating is I have some old General magazines. I was reading an old General magazine a couple of days ago as I was going through stuff. And I was reading about a guy, he wrote a whole article on the Russian campaign. I would say generally most of those games back then were pretty easy. Now, maybe not for a 12-year-old Todd or whatever.
Jeff, what's that game you just put away?
The one I just took down?
Yeah.
We will discuss that in question 4.
That 70s game that was pretty easy.
We'll discuss that in question 4.
Not all of them were easy. And my point is, what was interesting to me in reading that General magazine, and I know this is the case with a lot of games, but the guy was writing an article about the Russian campaign. He said, I've owned Russian campaign for 13 years now, and this magazine is from like 80-something. So, and I played that game maybe once a week for 13 years. And I said, who does that today in any game except for maybe ASL? And I don't know. I know a lot of people play Combat Commander. There's a few games that people play a lot. But I was like, because there were fewer options. And I don't know what my point of that is. Maybe find a game and stick to it. And anyway, so I don't know if I'm answering your question.
And I kind of, you and Ross are good at replaying stuff. I mean, yeah, maybe not 20 or 30 times playing the same scenario, but you've done it. And I've been seeing a lot of people are talking about that stuff on the internet. And I want to say we just had this discussion not too long ago about you don't really get anything out of the system or the game you're playing unless you – oh, no, it was with Mark Herman. You don't really get anything out of it unless you play it, a scenario maybe 3 or 4 times to get the taste of the game. So I'm not going to lie. I'm not that person. I mean, I can play the same system, different scenarios.
Right.
But, maybe for me it's, it's one of those squirrel because there's so many freaking things over there that I want to put on the table. And I'm telling you, I'm learning a lot of lessons and I'm fixing to go down that road that old Toddy there who's gone down road with, I need to get rid of some stuff because I'm not going to touch it or I'm going to set it up and be disappointed. Aaron, I had a buddy of mine that handed me, he got it sells games that are out of stock, out of print, he collects them, but he gave me, asked me to sort them for him. He had 4 Strike Force 1 games. And he wanted me to clean them up and sort them. And I remember the white fold-out box with the slot in the middle, and you slid the maps into the end, the old SPI foldables, which I actually thought were pretty cool, except for there's no tray. But I've seen people as basic as that game is. And it's funny, too, because you had the same counters for World War II, like the tank units in World War II. You would use those same counters for the cavalry in a Civil War game in a different scenario. But I saw people paying $75 and $80 for that thing. And you were never going to find one that was mint. There was no way, but it was one of the original things with SPI. So, the damn team. Yep, you're right.
Jeff, I thought of one thing too about the era when I was kind of surveying these war games and thinking about World War II games, late 90s, early 2000s. I just thought back to it. That was like a golden era of computer games for World War II, and I was playing all of those. I mean, that was the first Call of Duty right around then.
Yeah. Wow. I forgot about that.
Medal of Honor. Is that what it's called? Medal of Honor, the first-person shooter. But then there was Commandos, and there was Close Combat series.
Great game.
Oh, Close Combat series is fantastic.
Yeah, Close Combat, that was late 90s. So I was playing those while playing Euro games and then kind of looking for, okay, I can do this on a tabletop also. And then, again, I found my way through Memoir 44, but there were other games too. I just, that was a glut of World War II stuff. And I think that's because of Saving Private Ryan, which is 99 or something, 98 or 99. And
that's
Band of Brothers, which is shortly after that.
Yep.
It's kind of like when the Ken Burns Civil War documentary came out. That's like everyone knew about Civil War then. It's the same with Saving Private Ryan again with World War II.
So they mentioned a few of the SPIs Aaron did. Steel Panthers is the only computer. I could never get into computer games, but Steel Panthers I had, not the rock band, but the computer game. Thank you, Mo. The Steel Panthers was awesome though, because you could play scenarios and build your own maps and stuff like that. Someone mentioned real quick, and these are definitely ones that I had. These were really great intro level games, and I did play this. I did have BattleTech because it was really pretty straightforward. And what's great is it's kind of still the same today. But Ogre and Car Wars, I definitely had those little tiny, almost VCR size boxes. Those were the coolest things ever, man. You get this little game, and you could do some really. And in Car Wars, my Lord, they had so many little things about it. But I would say those might almost be some more entry-level war games that I was into, because, I mean, they had them and they were really cool. Thunder, Mad Max was out, and Ogre's not really anything specific, but I guess kind of like Star Wars, I guess, or something, But anyway, that stuff got me there. So
what was there was a video game we used to play at the arcade. It was about the time when you had Asteroids and stuff, Centipede. So it was a tank. Was it Battle
Zone?
Battle Zone. I used to wear that thing. Some of these guys right here. I mean, come on, Steel Panthers. I still play Steel Panthers. I still have my discs for all of Tiller's talents when he made it. I still have all the discs around here and the keys to them. Of course, I graduated up to the whole library off of Steam and everything like that. But those were. And I still play a lot of them today. I can wear some of those games. The war game design is taking over the Tiller stuff, and they're just improving on it. The AI is getting so much better. So I'm saving you here, Mo. How about you, Mo? Back when you got out of the trenches in the Psalm, what kind of systems were out there for you?
Back then we just found this new game called chess. No.
Oh, I thought. Okay, that's good. I was going to go with H.G. Wells' Little Wars, but you're even older, so that's cool. All right, good.
No, it was, for me, it was my first game was Tactics 2, of course, played that. And then second or third game that I bought that I remember was because I just thought the cover was cool. I saw it in the store and I had to get it. So I got it. Was South Africa, which was an SPI game, and it was a magazine game. And I was playing it and I thought, man, I really don't understand this game. And I realized I was playing it solitaire. I was playing both sides. But it's a game, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the game never ends. It just continues.
Almost bought that last week. It's used on the shelf at the local gaming store.
Yes.
It was very tempting.
Yeah, I mean,
don't go up there, Todd.
If you get it there, I bought a different one.
It's totally worth it,
Okay.
But it was one of those games where I was sitting there going, man, this game sucks. I don't know if I like these. If this is the way this goes, I don't know if I like this. I really had fun with Tactics 2, and now I'm playing a game that you can't win. But that was the point. That was what he was trying to get across.
Right.
Hardy was trying to get across with it was just the end of apartheid and stuff like that. So at that time, for me, I was a kid, I didn't really grasp what he was trying to, get across. But I actually have a copy of it again. I did get a copy of it again. I want to play it, and I want to see if there's any ways of maybe changing it up to where you can have some, win conditions instead of just you're going to lose as the government player. Yeah, eventually it's just going to wear you down because what's the point in playing a game that you're just basically trying to see how long you can last before you lose. But those games, and then of course, computer games like you were talking about, Close Combat, those are fantastic. Another one that was one that you had to save often because it, at least for me, it crashed a lot, was the original Harpoon. I think it was like,
Harpoon.
Like 95 or something like that, or 94, 95, something like that. It came out. And then there was Harpoon 97 that came out, I think it was. And that was the upgrade. And that crashed too. And I got used to playing that and crashing quite often. And then one of my favorites when it comes to computer war games was M1 Tank Platoon. Played the hell out of that. That was so much fun. And then there were all the Halo games that you could play too, which was a lot of fun. I know we're supposed to talk about board games, but
no, dude,
there was such a plethora of awesome games. And then of course,
Tiger Hunt. You ever played Tiger Hunt?
Yeah, I never played that one, but I think it's one. I think I know what you're talking about, the game that you're talking about. But then the Grand 8A of Mall, which is sci-fi, really. They're South Africa. Is when MechWarrior 2 came out.
Oh yeah, I still got
That
those
was
over
just
there.
the most immersive game. And I just was like, I mean, I loved BattleTech already, but you just felt so sucked into that world, and it was just so cool. And that, of course, did inspire more people to get into BattleTech. And then, of course, BattleTech just went from, like you guys were saying earlier, like Todd was saying, it's pretty straightforward with the 30-25 rules, pretty straightforward out of the box set. But then it gets more complex once you add in other rules. And you add more layers into it, aerotech and all that other stuff, city tech, and you start adding all that in, then you up the complexity. And then, like we were talking about before the game, before I should say, before we started the show, was one of the things that turned me off of playing BattleTech was the community. There were a lot of good people, but at the same time, there were the rules lawyers that want to split hairs and try to do anything to min-max to beat you. And I'm like, dude, we're here to play for fun. Who cares who wins or loses? But some people take it like uber serious, like they need to win. And I've noticed that, not to knock on our miniatures gamers, but I've seen that far more in miniatures gaming than I have in board gaming. And that is the fastest way to make me never game with you again, is to act like that. I mean, we're not like playing for $1 million in money here. So who cares who wins? We're here to play, to have fun, learn the game, understand the rules, and play it correctly, and not worry about who wins. I mean, you want to be competitive, don't get me wrong, but it's not the begin all and end all if you win or lose.
Right. Scott, those are, I got to get their
combat missions.
One too. I need to grab that. That's such a great game. Now, Andrew.
There is, there you go. There's the RPG. Now, combat missions, there's a thing, I think it might still be going on. Fanatical was doing a thing where you can buy a bunch of different games, and combat missions they had in there too. Combat mission, I should say, was in there.
You can buy the that MechWarrior. I remember when I started playing competitive first-person shooter games, Delta Force 2 was the first one we played, but Nova Logic was the game company, and they had an FPS game called MechWarrior, and where you were in, and it was based off of that, where you were in a mech and running around the battlefield. And then they had one that was it was before the Apache helicopter. It was called Comanche.
Comanche, yeah,
and you could fly the hell. It's pretty cool. I know, Andrew. Okay, here's how I'm going to pose this to you. Okay, because it is in my brain and in my mind, and there's no doubt about it. I know this. I'm 100% right. As you came out of the womb at birth, what was the game system that you were playing immediately?
It was actually my brother and I playing with Legos and then plastic toy soldiers.
See, I mean, this is this is what I'm talking about. This would have never crossed my mind to go back when I was 6 or 7 or 8 years old or something like that, thinking about all the stuff I had where I was actually playing a war game, but I wouldn't have known it back then.
Yeah,
and Andrew would have this answer for us. So,
well, see, we started playing stuff with Legos and then realized that both of us kind of like history, and by that I mean I really like history, and I wouldn't play with him with Legos because he was bigger than me, he could beat me up. So then we had to introduce our own dice sort of stuff because, fun fact, Monopoly also wound up with him beating me up. But those would probably be in terms of my first actual war game that I played. I remember when I was a kid at the local library, there was a guy who set up a ton of folding tables, rolled out cloth on them, and had railroad like trees and lichen and stuff. And then actually, again, a bunch of toy soldiers, plastic toy soldiers. Todd, I'm sure it was a Big Muddy guy. To this day, I've asked around and people are like, I can't remember that, but I don't know who it was. And I tell you what, it was delightful. It was simple enough. It was Germans and actually French, surprisingly enough. I clearly remember that it was early war. And, if you were the Germans, you could move and shoot with your tanks because you had radios. If you were French, you couldn't. Stuff like that. That grabbed me real hard for a couple of years. I kind of got away from it, was chasing that high, so to speak. Unfortunately found Games Workshop games. Those were pretty not great, but they kind of scratched that itch, as well as then using the basic rules from some of the Games Workshop games to play historical stuff by giving toy soldiers. stats from those games, and then kind of all went off from there in terms of playing Flames of War in 15, and then it got nutty.
You just your miniature stuff. You play so much more, Chuck. All right, now, and Andrew, I know you, me, and Todd, we've had this discussion a lot because you talk about going over to your brother's house and some stuff like that. But Chuck said dogfight. So remember all those Milton Bradley games, dogfight, and the tank one with the Shermans and the Panthers on it.
Broadside, Tank War,
Broadside,
dogfight. There's one that's the American Revolution.
What's the Civil War one where you had the plastic blue and gray figures and you moved them on?
Battlecry?
Was that Battlecry?
Yeah, that's still around. Toddy's got a copy of Battlecry. I feel like the system is probably different.
I mean, Battlecry is like memoir, like Command.
No, not one Battlecry. It was part of the Bradley system.
There's definitely a super old Milton Bradley game. Or I think it's Milton Bradley.
Yeah, it had all the states on it for the Civil War, and then it had squares, little plastic cavalry guys, and you moved one square at a time.
I'm pretty sure it's called Battlecry. It's sitting at my brother's house right now, and it was my mom's older brother's.
I remember that game. I don't know if it was Battlecry, but I think I remember the game you were talking about.
Got it. It was Battlecry, 1961. It's different than the Command and Colors one.
Yeah,
I wish I was wearing pants right now so I could stand up and tell you to suck it.
Battlecry, very nice, very nice. I used to, it's like, you think about your baseball cards. Where'd they go? Why did I let them go in the trash? Why did I let 4 signed Cal Ripken rookie cards get thrown out?
Oh, dude.
I loved that game, man. I saw a copy somewhere probably a couple months ago. I saw it somewhere online. But you're not going to buy one of them for $10 now.
And there was an American Revolution game that was just like that too.
Very similar. I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go on an adventure,
buddy. Noble Knight, $18.
No, I'm not talking about an adventure to Noble Knight. I'm talking about an adventure to the basement. So I'm pretty sure I have that American Revolution game in the basement.
Nice.
All right, we're gonna bump to the next question here.
Let's get back to World War II, people.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we did kind of drift there a little bit. Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. That's okay. That's the way it works for this group, man. We always, that's why Todd and I always have this discussion about we could start a show and really not know what we're going to do, but 10 minutes in, we're rambling on about some stuff. And I know with Ken and Moe and Gimp, it's the same way. So, all right.
I also have American Heritage game Civil War. That's a fun one. Where is the AWI game? I don't know.
All right. Levels of depth in gaming World War II.
Look, any specific games now?
Well, no, we're coming to that though. We're gonna come to a recommendations section here.
I got you. Okay,
but yeah, campaign from North Africa.
But we can.
OCS Case Blue.
We have everything from, hey, here's how I'm going to start playing to when I'm old and crotchety and don't have nothing else to do and I can spend 6 straight days playing a game and I want to account for everything in the game. We've got them. So let's go back again when we started playing. What can you remember back in your early days of playing? What was the easiest one? What would you have considered an entry level back in your day when you first started?
Tactics 2. Tactics 2 hit the sweet spot, like Todd said before. It really did hit the sweet spot as far as being a simple game you can understand, but it made you feel at times that it was more complex because they did have like advanced rules where you wanted to use like nuclear wars and stuff like that, or nuclear war and stuff like that into the game. You could add that into it, and it made it feel like it added another level without being overly complex. It felt like it was adding a little more meat without having to beat you up for it. And the thing that really stood out for me and still stays with me about Tactics 2 was the CRT was the most verbose CRT I've ever seen. It would give you odds and it would give you it would break down odds, and it was the entire chart was just the odds and stuff. And I was like, they could have just made it really simple, like 2 to 1, 1 to 1, 3 to 1, 1 to 3, or whatever like that. No, they gave you the entire odd breakdown. And I thought it was kind of funny how, because at first you're like, wow, this is really complex. And then you're like, it's the same numbers.
Yeah. What was the game back? There was a game I remember back then where you didn't even roll dice. It was whatever your strength was against whatever the defender was. It had a chart, and you didn't even roll the dice. It just so every time you got their same odds, you knew what the result was. I don't think that lasted long in games, but
no, that almost sounds like a Euro, where it's more deterministic right away rather than having any randomness with the dice, because that's one of the things that's one of the problems that Euro gamers have when it comes to getting into war games, is they feel it's too chaotic and you can't control the outcome because of the dice. Whereas war gamers are like, yeah, the dice, that's the war aspect.
Point.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to mitigate the chances by like outnumbering 3-1 or 2-1 or something like that. But even at 3-1, that Skirmish was the name of that AWI game that McMurray's trying to figure out.
There you go. Yes.
Skirmish. Yeah.
Thank
I had to
you.
go look it up because I couldn't remember it and it was bugging me. I could see the cover in my head, but I couldn't, remember the name.
That game.
But I don't remember what game that was that you're talking about though. But yeah, I can see that would wear thin pretty quick.
Well, there's a computer. I have them too. There's a computer version that when I think of Tactics 2, there's a computer game that I played. It's actually pretty detailed, but it's really, really old school. And there's like 3 of them in the system. Tactics Gold, and I think it's one of them like that. But I went to play and I was like, oh, this is going to be like playing the old Tactics 2 game. Oh. But it's not. It's actually quite fun, and they're old school, but you can still buy them in packages too. All right, Ross, what was the? I mean, probably the easiest thing you picked up when you started playing. Maybe there was a gap because you jumped right into the ASL stuff. But what do you remember as the easiest thing you probably played? It was World War II.
I mean, I started with Memoir 44, which was the easiest thing, and I had actually played Battle Lore, the like fantasy one, which no one talks about that anymore. But there's a fantasy Commands and Colors game, Battle Lore. That's the one I actually played before. Put in Battle Lore one word there.
Whoops.
That's one I actually played before, kind of sidestepping over into Memoir 44. But Battle Line is also a great game, by the way. But Battle Lore. See, I feel like I played that before 2006, but you know how memory gets. I guess it wasn't.
Yeah, I hear this is actually pretty good. I mean,
and it's so Richard Borg, and it's not Commands and Colors precisely, but it's the same thing. You got the kind of 3 lanes or whatever, and it's got that same modular board. But for me, that Memoir 44 was like the easy way in. It felt like I was playing a hex game that I was kind of already aspiring to. But it's got little minis. It's got the one board that's modular. You can build a map on there. Yeah, 2004. Okay.
I'm still amazed at all the different games we had back in those days that, obviously we didn't know about them. But, I mean, it was – I grew up in Falls Church, and we had the Complete Strategist right there. It was the one that closed down a few years ago. But, I may have went in there – a couple times. I think Grenadier was probably the first game I spent my own money on and bought, the old SPI Grenadier, which really wasn't bad. There was no terrain on any of the maps. It was just all a bunch of white maps put together. But you could play different levels of games. And it was, now granted, when you're 8, that's complex as hell. But compared to today's systems, it was actually quite simple to play. Another game that I can remember too that I'm going to consider it, you could have used it as an entry-level game. A lot of people don't like it. And it's granted not World War II, but it had tanks and infantry too. It was Hammer Slammers. And I used to love that thing, the puzzle map boards you put together and stuff like that. But I can't think when I first started, the first World War II game that I remember playing that when I think about it today that was easy for me was the Avalon Hills Battle of the Bold 65. It was just super easy. And
that's what I was going to say.
I went to Loudoun County stacking. Loudoun County High School is where I graduated. But I remember that game. I think I may have played it once. McMurray, I think, has played it 20 times in the last 2 years. But I remember that was pretty easy as far as movement and combat and stuff like that. And the first one that I ever bought was when I was in basic training. They on our last weekend before we got out was the first time they ever let us go do anything on a weekend. Me and a buddy, his name was Petrovich. I remember we went to the museum, the Patton Museum, and they sold war games in there. And I bought Army Group South, the quad. And I remember that weekend I was playing it in one of the wall lockers, sitting on one of the chests inside the wall lockers, playing one of the scenarios. And that game was really, really easy. And I played one here like last year, a scenario. And actually, yeah, it was easy, but there was a little more depth to it. You know, then you got to read them special rules and stuff when you play games like that. But I remember that being pretty easy. The depth of it was not, you know, real heavy. I would consider that maybe not quite light, maybe somewhere between light and intermediate. But then I go to the other end of the spectrum back in the heyday. And I was fortunate enough that when I came out of basic training in AIT and I went home for 2 weeks and I was shipping overseas, I went down to the Complete Strategist and I bought a game to take with me. And I was talking to the guy that owned the store at the time. I can't remember who he was, but I told him, you know, I'm getting ready to deploy. And he was like, well, I'll tell you what you're going to tell you what we'll do. You can go pick whatever game you want and I'll give it to you for free. Bad choice, because I had enough SPI knowledge to know to grab Campaign for North Africa off the shelf at $40, which was a lot of money. All right. And he gave me that game. He shook his head and laughed at me. He said, damn. And I took that game, but you know, I lost that game over the years. But at that time, that would have been the most complex thing for me in the 1970, 1980, I guess. 80, right? Start of 81. So is that my store?
I think it might be. It's Complete Strategist.
That looks familiar.
Looks like the one.
Might be. Now, how many of those were there? I was just posting on Discord because there used to be one in Boston,
New
over
York,
by BU, and it was crazy. It was insane. It was stacked to the ceiling with games.
Yeah.
Felt like a hoarder's closet. And then someone was saying the kind of New York flagship store, the New York City one, same thing. It's like a a hoarder's shed.
They all look like this. It's amazing. It's just you just.
So was it a bigger chain? I didn't realize. I thought it was maybe just New York and Boston.
Boston Church, we had one, so.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
the Boston one's closed.
Big. Yeah, but and in those days too, you know, of course, granted, we're talking a long, long time ago, but the only thing I can remember being in that store was Avalon Hill, SPI, and who made they had the fold out games. They had the French Legion, the Foreign Legion one. They
Quinto.
Who?
Quinto.
Say it again.
Yeah, Quinto.
Quinto. Yeah. That's all I remember being in that store in those days.
Yeah, I guess it sounds like it was a chain if they were in Philly too, or at least a kind of northeast mid-Atlantic chain.
Yep.
Now, if they showed that on TV, they would probably get on that reality show, you know, hoarding or whatever, the hoarders.
That's what it looks like. The one in Boston was insane.
Like
it was. I actually played D&D there, and they had one table stuffed in the back, and it's just games all around you, like a little cave, like a little tiny card table with 5 people around it.
Well,
I went maybe 3 times.
Now it's the opposite in game stores. Now they have like cards everywhere because Magic is the big money driver for all these stores.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll have tables and stuff, and then they have, here's some aisles of games, and here's one of war games.
Yeah, here's a war game.
Yeah. Well, they opened up a store down in Chantilly a long time ago. It's not there anymore, but I can't remember what it was called. But I remember I was down there working on a car lot one day, and I went in the store because I happened to notice it, and the store was like a big old, like these big old Books A Million stores now. And it was just games, but 99.9% of the store was all Euro stuff. And you walked in the door and you had to make a little left turn and walk up like 2 little stairs to look like a little reading area.
Little nook.
Yeah, and that's where I bought on my first 3 GBA CW games. Little nook.
That's the embarrassed area where they hide the war games.
Yeah,
like the back room at old video stores.
Yeah, exactly. Like you take the walk of shame back there and you walk of shame out.
You look around.
Is anybody here?
Hope my pastor's not here.
Yeah, none of your friends' moms are around, anything like that.
And you think you're okay, and then you walk in, there's your pastor inside already. Oops.
All right. So what was Todd? What was the first we'd say entry level World War II game that you picked up and played?
Okay, so now I'm going to fast forward to the 2004 2005, after I'd met my friend. Well, I discovered Board Game Geek and websites. Again, I feel like we're talking about something illicit, but I'm talking about, what was not Consim World, but
TMP?
yeah, I think it was probably Consim World actually. And then the miniatures page, which I wasn't into miniatures back in there, but when you looked up World War II gaming, that's what you found. But when I really got into it, I moved here to St. Louis, and my friend here, who was really into Euro games, I started going to Board Game Geek and just really searching that stuff out to see if it was still played. And of course it was. And I think Board Game Geek and Vassal, I mean, as most people complain about Board Game Geek, I think it really helped wargaming kind of come back, because they had a forum. I could go there, I could learn, I could see stuff before I bought. And the conversations were pretty good, very helpful. This before social media was a thing, really. But the first game I bought, let's see, is this accurate here? So I think the first Hex Encounter board game I bought was Combat Commander, because I'd played Squad Leader back in the 90s, and my friend and I could barely make it through scenario 1. And I'm talking about Squad Leader, not ASL. And I bought that in the 90s when ASL was already out, but they still had some Squad Leader on the shelf. So, and I didn't have to buy a rule book and a box. I could just buy a box, which was better.
Right.
But so I was like, well, and let me tell you, I love the program learning. I love the commentary on the back of the box, little story about who was it? Is it probably Steiner? I'm sure Steiner was the name of the sergeant. And I mean, the narrative on that box got me all excited. I couldn't work it. I got ADHD or something. Who knows what I've got, but I just could not keep myself in the rules to learn it. But anyway, Combat Commander was one that I was able to read, figure out the rules, and actually play it to some level of, oh, I think I'm actually doing this correctly. And that was even solo, and that's not even a solo, really very solo friendly game. But so I would say that was my entry level game. And then I think, man, this is amazing. If every rule set, I'm sure every rule set is this well written, this user friendly, it's going to be, every game's going to be just like this. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Next.
sure.
Andrew, the first miniatures now. We're going to go miniatures. All right. You stay away from Avalon Hill for this one. Okay. The first easy play miniature World War II rule set that you played.
I can answer this question too.
Go for it.
No, go. I've already talked. Go.
Well, I got to think about it, because I don't know if I would consider Flames of War an easy play game. I mean, it is, but it's got, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a big rule book.
It might be Bolt Action.
Oh, really?
Other than, again, various homebrew rules.
Really? Now, see, me looking from the outside, because I haven't done any of that yet. Granted, I'm probably thinking today, but I would think that Bolt Action and Flames of War would probably be detailed games.
Not particularly.
wrong? I mean, if
you're going to play tournaments and stuff, maybe, but if you're just going to get in play, they're not that hard. I mean,
yeah, it's not like there's simplicity in mechanics, and yet there can be a wide amount of information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bolt Action is a mechanically pretty simple game. You've got dice, you've got modifiers, but the modifiers aren't excessive, and there's not different things that change the modifiers, right? Every roll has its, couple modifiers, and if you use them, you use them. If you don't have them accessible, they're not applicable, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, Flames of War gets a little further into the weeds on that, but it kind of boils down to the same thing. It is a step up, but probably Bolt Action 2013 when that first came out and we played it.
Right.
See, Bolt Action, I think I have some Bolt Action stuff. That is hard for me because you have to do like a point buy system to build an army and all this stuff.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Just
I know they have.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to. I guess if you want to. Okay.
Yeah, I was
So
going to say,
just don't do
just
it.
play with whatever
You're
you
right,
want.
Ross. I mean, that is the
there.
nature of the game. You have points.
Right.
You got to figure out
That's
your
the
army.
tricky part for me was like, I don't know what's good. I don't know if the flamethrower dude is better than 3 frontline grunts.
And see, that's exactly. And that's where we're getting into the weeds of like the ASL tournament gamer, right? My advice for people starting out with stuff like that is just don't worry about the points. Build dudes that you think look cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just play with what you have. And if you wind up with, oh man, it turns out I've got 1,000 points worth of Germans and only 700 points worth of Americans, then just pull some of the Germans out and go to town. Don't worry about. It's one of the glories of playing miniatures games is what you see is what you get. that people don't like. People focus on, oh man, I got to build exactly what I want for this list so I can kick the shit out of my buddy. No, just build something that looks cool, or build it historically.
That's what I
And
do.
then-
That's what I
And
do.
then play with what you have. Yeah.
I like the historical thing too. I mean,
Well-
I think one of the best ones I've ever seen was Todd when you were doing your Barkman's Corner stuff. That was
Here's a question when it comes to any of those games, whether it's bolt action or whatever. Do they not give you already an order of battle to go from, or is it all open to building your own based on a point,
So-
points that they give you?
That's one of the things I used to love about Flames of War, because you would open up a book and it would have this whole big, usually it was a full page and it wasn't just all text. It was, pictures of a force organization, right? So you start out with a commander, and then like Flames of War is company based. So you have to take an HQ and then 2, maybe sometimes 3 infantry platoons, or 2 infantry platoons and a weapons platoon. And then there's all kinds of other stuff that, especially in Flames of War, historically was at that, that would go with that. So if you say, oh man, I really want to play Normandy, right? Cool, I have infantry. The nice part about, again, especially older Flames of War, is that, there you go, Todd's got it, is that, okay, here's a ton of infantry lists that are historically rooted that you can then play with. So, you then have, okay, well, I'm playing a list from the 4th Infantry Division. Okay, well, the 4th Infantry Division had organic tank battalions. So if you want to take a platoon of Shermans, take a platoon of Shermans. If you want to take, 80 millimeter mortars, take 80 millimeter mortars. Maybe throw in some anti-tank guns, what have you. Bolt action has something similar. It's not quite as well fleshed out. But then there's also 8 trillion scenarios for each of those, where you have exactly what you need. Get that 4th edition garbage off the screen, Toddy. I'll
See,
go get some of my books if you need to.
That would be like, to me, I think that's kind of a roadblock. Like, some people will think it's a great thing, but it's kind of a roadblock for newer gamers.
If you're just breaking into it completely fresh, it
100%.
certainly can be. The nice part is, what they do to kind of get around that roadblock for people is, a lot of times you can buy a starter set that then has 2 relatively even, little forces that you can play.
That's what you bought, Ross, isn't it?
The whole thing about miniatures.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, I'll speak for him. Yes, I bought a. How do I sound like Ross?
Did I cut out?
Anyway, no, he's back.
Please
I
keep
should be here.
talking. Todd's making
I
me
think
sound
Mo
like a
froze,
dick.
actually.
He did. Mo did. He locked up. All right, so let's throw this one out there.
Well, hey, hold on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can cover miniature too. But Mo's right. It is a barrier, and it requires some work and can be very overwhelming. Like, even if you narrow down your miniature gaming to World War II, don't even try Napoleonics. I mean, it's like,
no shit.
do I have to build an entire army? But that's why the starter sets are awesome. You just buy it and you go. That's one way to start. That's why it's really good to get with some local gamers and just say, okay, well, what do you do? How do you get about this? And you kind of see what's going on. You just start kind of, it is. I mean, it's a barrier.
Walking into stuff blind is rough.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is.
So my entry level miniatures game is I tried a couple. I had played in a game called Command Decision with some local guys who are awesome, been playing for a million years. Amazing. I think I bought the set. I bought a couple rule sets. That's another challenge. Not a challenge. This thing you do with miniature, you just have to buy a bunch of rule sets and just read them and kind of see what
that's part of the fun. Yeah, you can find exactly what you like.
And but mine that I latched onto, and you can see tons of videos on my channel, Blitzkrieg Commander 2. It was pretty simple, really neat activation. I'm not going to get into details, but that was my miniature system that I bought. I'm like, oh yeah, this resonates with me. And I started in micro armor, which is 6 mil. So anyway, that was that.
I'm wondering if that's why I'm struggling with miniatures, because I don't. We'll put it to like Lobotai. There's just so many rule sets out there.
Well, and that's the fun part is, luckily you've got enough people around that you can say, hey, I'm kind of looking for this, and this, and then here's a rule set to try. Latch onto it, try it a while. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, then it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah,
you got all that info and all that experience out of it, and it's
So let's throw this out there. By the way, Ross, is that a 5th New York shirt you're wearing?
I was waiting. Yeah, that's my Zouave shirt now. I only have Civil War themed stuff.
Clothing.
It says guards up and at 'em.
What's the name of that store?
Also on Etsy, and this one is
Never
Wide
heard of
Awake
sex store.
on Etsy.
All right, so here let's
We need
do
the Dan Sickles store.
Then we're going to get out to the we're
Coupon
gonna get
code
to
Ross,
the
50%
more
off.
current question after this one here.
Okay, here we go.
So go back in again. We're staying. We're going to come into the future here in just a second. We're going to come into the present here in a second, but let's stay back in our early days, our early heydays. Either what was a game, World War II, if you got one, that you played or attempted to play that was either just super crunchy or it potentially could have turned you away from playing war games, period. If you continued down that road with that. It was just too crunchy, or it would have just made you there's no way I don't want to play this. It wasn't. And I don't want to butcher any designers or any specific games, but every one of us has probably got something different.
Well, everyone's got a different level of definition of crunchy is, but that's what's cool. And yeah, you're not saying it's a bad game. It's just it was too much for you.
Yeah, it just wasn't up your alley.
I don't know if it was crunchy, but the Russian campaign gave me a bit of a run for my money just because it's and I was playing the first edition. It is not complicated. It is long.
Right.
Yes.
It is long. There are a ton of turns in that game.
Yep.
And part of that might have been because at least the first edition from Avalon Hill was pretty simple. And I think you guys watched me do that with when I played through the entirety of Stalingrad Pocket 2 also. It was just one of those, this is never going to end.
Right.
I'm not making much headway on either side, and it's just never going to end. I am lucky enough to have you guys around, so I haven't, at least with World War II, bitten off any of the too crunchy things, right?
Right.
Which is entirely thanks to you guys. Otherwise, I 100% would have looked at pretty color art and been like, "Ooh, I want to play that." Because I did that.
Yeah, I'm
I've
bad
done that
about
before.
that, man. I am very bad about that. You guys out there in Chatland too, a game that could have turned you away from playing, or you started to play it, or you got into it, and you were just like, "No, hell no." How about you, Ross? What'd you have that flipped your head that you just?
I mean, I think for me, I realized pretty quickly I only like tactical games, really. I mean, I've played other World War II games, but it's really only the tactical ones that kind of hook me and that I want to keep playing at all. So I remember playing, someone had showed me No Retreat. Do you remember that game?
Yep.
Kind of Russian campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Russian.
Yep.
I think highly regarded game. I found it completely boring and dull. I mean, it's not. I mean, people love it. I'm sure it's a great game. Did nothing for me. I'm like, I think I don't like strategic level games. I have bought all the OCS stuff that's been put out in the past 20 years and sits and shrink. I have aspirations to play all of that. I'm interested in supply and kind of operational things theoretically. We'll see if that sticks for once I actually get around to playing those. But I feel like I either like that kind of zoomed out scale campaign level or operational level, kind of moving supply around and managing that, or I like really zoomed in storytelling with tactics. I bounced off of any kind of strategic games I played.
Well, and you're a reader and a player too. Todd's the same way. I know Kev's the same way. Let's read something about it and let's play something. And I know you're doing that with Shiloh right now. But yeah. I mean, Todd, what about you? What turns you off? What game can you think of that was maybe just too detailed, or that it just didn't flip your switch?
Flip my whatever.
I know this answer. I know a couple of these answers.
I mean, it's interesting. What would you say, McMurray? I mean, there's been a few games I played like No Retreat where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what are you thinking, Andrew? Like, what?
It seems like you had fun with it until it got frustrating and said, "Nah, this isn't for me." With both a couple attempts at Goss, and then it seemed like you hit that wall in Battle for Normandy as well.
Yeah, it's Goss. I would probably say that's just so complex that I was like, I don't think I'm going to take the time.
Exactly, it's that crunch factor.
Yeah, it's
not that you can't do it. It's just that it doesn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't worth the.
Here's a better approach for Todd, because Todd's very good about. Matter of fact, Todd might be the only one. Kev might be a little bit too, where you'll you'll have a game, you'll go away from it, and then maybe a year or 2 or 3 later, you come back to the system again because there's something intriguing. Todd, is there maybe a system out there that, or even a game that you did that with, and you know damn well you're not going to come back to it?
Well, I mean, it's probably Goss at this point because I realize I'm not going to play that. I mean, they're coming out with the Market Garden game. I mean, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. The count. I mean, I love the map. I love the look of Goss. It's just too much for. And there's just and people that I know that grok games better than I do struggle with it. I'm like, I'm just not gonna. I don't.
What is Goss? I don't know.
Grand operational. I seem to have lost. I don't know. I've lost the connection to the internet yet. I'm still on with you guys, but I can't get anything to pull up from the internet.
Bottom Rhine.
It's grand operational
strategic system.
Strategic system. There you go.
Yeah, they're the big in depth. I mean, you got to count. It's not campaign for North Africa, but you still have to account for fuel and stuff like that in a more abstract manner. And zone your divisions operate.
I got it pulled up here.
Jeff, do you remember the night that I sat there and listened to you working through the artillery firing sequence for like 45 minutes to an hour? And then it was I'm never fucking playing this, Jeff. Are you insane? With the 17 steps or whatever?
These are all the SPI, Atlantic Wall, Bach am Rhein, the decision games remade in this Goss system.
Yeah, but then they released like Hurt and stuff too.
Hurt and Forest, yeah. They got like 6 games maybe in the series.
Yeah, and they are playable. It's just it takes a lot of. I mean, Charles has jumped off of them.
Clay and them really like them.
Yeah, Clay loves the stuff.
Yeah,
but I still to this day, I don't know anybody. I've not seen anybody post. I know they're out there, but I've not seen anybody post. We finished one.
So
that's the line that I would draw between like that and campaign for North Africa, right? Because at least you've seen people play sizable chunks of Goss games, right? Especially like you can find them on like Board Game Geek and stuff where people have played large, significant chunks. I haven't gotten into the weeds enough to know if you can find a complete after action report. But campaign for North Africa and like Gettysburg 77, I don't even know how the hell they play tested those things. Like they didn't play test the full game.
No, he says it wasn't play tested.
I am aware. Correct.
OCS
That's my point, though.
Ross is what this is.
But it's just not. It's just so much there that it's kind of developing by just a few people. I don't know. It's fine. People play it. It's great for them. I just can't get into it. Now, Battle for Normandy is an interesting one, but it's not. It wasn't the crunch so much as I just felt like it was kind of maybe a little redundant, or there was maybe a few elements I just wasn't quite figuring out. So
I'll tell you who hasn't played.
Where to put your paratroopers?
Stacking says Ardwolf, but he never finished it. But I'll tell you what, the person that I'm gonna have to go dig now, but if there's any one person out there that I know would finish the game, it would be Callendale. But I don't think he's touched Goss that I'm aware of.
That's interesting because that seems like that'd be his kind of thing to try.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check that one out. And there you go. Now, Richard C., you just did it right there. That was the game that I played a long, long time ago. Not super, duper duper crunchy, but that game sucked. I'm sorry. That game
Can we throw it out there?
Oh no! Do you really want to? Because you've already thrown it and burned it.
Well, I don't know because we were originally not going to bash games, and then you just said Anzio sucked.
Yeah, for me it did. Just for me. Go ahead and say it.
Well, that game tried to kill Brian.
Yeah, it did.
And then it tried to blow up on Toddy. Was MedWar Sicily.
Yeah, and that was not hard to play.
I played that game the entire way through, and it just never did anything for me.
No, there's nothing. Yeah, there's no. Yeah.
So,
Ross,
the map isn't particularly pretty. There's nothing like cool in the rules. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's nifty. I like that. I want to do that some more.
Well, you know what? Okay, so here we go. I'll let y'all answer this question for me. What Civil War game out there could have turned Hexy from ever playing Civil War games again?
Gettysburg 77.
No.
Oh.
You brought it to me. Andrew brought it to me.
I don't know. Ironclads came back with me.
Fucking flanks of Gettysburg, man.
Oh, yeah. You wanted that game so bad.
No. And then
you wanted that game so bad.
And then freaking Dan Dan Picciotti sent me another game from the same system for free.
You wanted that game so bad. And my sadness now is that the Belmont game, the only one I can find, it's a magazine game, but it uses the same system. Like I really want to play a game that circles around Belmont, because it's one of the only ones that's of any size in Missouri.
It's coming in the new GBACW module, so stay tuned. Playtesting.
They need to put out GBACW for Mongoloids, and then I can play it.
You're gonna play it. The Belmont one's a nice small scenario, so you're gonna play it.
I understand that, but it like I still can't eat a small hedgehog. Like it,
Ross,
just a little bit of
play
fentanyl is
OCS?
still gonna knock me off.
Play OCS and Vassal, Ross.
I will absolutely try it.
There's a World War II system right there that honestly, it was EFS is my thing. So, and don't get me wrong, I still like OCS, but it was giving me headaches with setup and play. All right, you know what? Let's get to the crux of this for tonight. Mo is really having a problem with his internet gerbils, so he may not be able to get back on. If he does, we'll bring him in here. I hope he does for this last segment. All right, so I got it as, you know, we're gonna bring it to today. Entry level, intermediate, advanced, and super crunchy. Okay, this should be easier for us. Okay, Todd, we're gonna start with you on this one. If today somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I want to play Hex Encounter World War II. What do you think you're gonna? What game? Let's just try to narrow it down to a specific game, or maybe even a couple. Are you gonna put on the table and teach somebody how to play World War II?"
You did this 5 years ago, Todd. I believe in you.
All right, I'm going to give two answers. One, if it's tactical, kind of like they want to do a movie, I'm going to go with Combat Commander. Okay. If they want a little higher level, kind of thinking about a battle on a higher level, I'd probably go with Bastogne from the Standard Combat series.
Good one.
That's what I would do. The reason I would choose Bastogne is it's pretty simple. It's D-Day. It's Battle of the Bulge. It's Band of Brothers. You got to tie it into a bunch of stuff there, and it's pretty straightforward. There's some small scenarios, so you don't have to do the whole thing. It's Battle of the Bulge, but it's only a little section of it, like the center part. So that's cool. In a Standard Combat series, which is 8 pages of rules, and I don't know what Andrew, like 2 pages of special rules or something. I don't know. It's not too bad.
It depends.
Yeah, but Todd, I want you to teach me to play Eastern Front easy play.
Yeah, what's your favorite SCS game, Todd?
I don't know anymore what my favorite SCS game is.
I think it's a Napoleonics game at this point in time, to be honest with you.
So Eastern Front's hard for me because I'm not really.
Chuck just said it for you.
I mean, I think what's that?
Chuck just said it for you in the text.
Oh, well, that's fine. Yeah, there are SCS games that cover the East Front. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're asking me the question, I'm telling you what I'm telling you. If they said East Front, I guess I don't know. I would have a hard time with that. So I would say Combat Commander. They've got East Front there.
Okay.
The reason I like Combat Commander is one reason it frustrates people. It limits your choices. It's just like Memoir. There's a limited choice. So because that's the part thing with wargaming. It's like, what do I do? I don't even know what to do. It's like, well, guess what? It's in your hand what you can do. You know your goal is to get that hex. What do you have in your hand? Just do it and see what happens. And you might get a great set of hands. And the cool thing about Combat Commander is there are consistent tournament winners, which means there's strategy involved, and it's not just luck of the draw. So, anywho, that's it. I'm done.
All right. Okay, Ross, come on. There's got to be one out there right now that if a buddy here say, "Hey, come on, let's play some World War II." I've never played. How are you going to teach me today?
Yes, I just did this with my brothers last year, and they're gamers, but really kind of like mostly I played like Cold Whirly games, like, you know, not light games, but they're not war games per se. I thought that the Undaunted games, we played Undaunted Stalingrad.
Oh, yeah.
Was fantastic as an entry point because
Mm-hmm.
it's barely a war game, but it's certainly dripping with World War II theme. I mean, you literally read a story out of a book, which is kind of cool, but then this story plays out on the board that then you can talk about, you know, all week between sessions or whatever, as named characters are moving through. They exist on cards. I thought that was more than Memoir 44, which is a great system, great game. I thought that was my go-to now for trying to get someone who's not a gamer necessarily to play a World War II game. The downside is like the setup time. You have to track all this stuff about between sessions, about what tiles go out and all that stuff. But that's my beginner level, super easy game, straightforward. You move your little tokens, they shoot, they try to take a building, all the cool stuff that happens in World War II. Mid-level or like kind of second tier Combat Commander, great choice, certainly a better choice than ASL or even Starter Kit or something. I think it's a better game than Starter Kit for ASL. But I really liked, especially for a gamer that's not coming with any preconceived notions about tactical World War II games, Last 100 Yards, fantastic entry system. If you bring baggage from other games, it can be a little tricky to wrap your head around it. If you're coming fresh, he's designed a really cool system for relatively fast playing tactical game, great storytelling, great narrative component, and looks great on the board too. So that'd be kind of someone who's maybe more of a gamer pick over Undaunted, which is really kind of a non-gamers game. I think most people would agree. I don't think it's, once you're in super deep, I don't think you're like playing Undaunted every weekend or something.
Right. Andrew, miniatures today.
Man, I want
Easy
to
play.
talk board games too. Just
Okay,
buy a
go ahead.
bolt action starter set for World War II and get after it.
Okay. What about Hex and Counter for you?
I got 3 options for this, depending on what you like. Again, Tank on Tank is
Okay,
not quite as not board gamey as Undaunted. I have played Undaunted. Undaunted, have you played the Battle of Britain game?
No, I've seen it. I've played the
It's
Normandy
delightful.
briefly, and then we played the entirety of the Stalingrad one, which was cool.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good game.
The Battle for Britain is pretty fun. Anyways, going back, I've played Band of Brothers once or twice. It wasn't necessarily my favorite. I couldn't just, I don't know, for whatever reason I had trouble getting into it. Maybe it was the guy I was playing with, whatever. But then honestly I jumped back to Avalon Hill. You guys know I love Battle of the Bulge. That's a fantastic game. That Jeff,
you can still get it. You can still get it. You can still find it.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
But if you had to
everywhere.
go today, a today made game, something that we can still see it currently being expanded, or what would you have to do? What would you go to?
It's a little maybe flirting with intermediate, but like Storm over Stalingrad.
There you see, there's a different perspective. This is what I like about this. We've got
And it's Eastern Front, and I don't care about the Eastern Front. Everybody, there's no good guys. What's the joy in winning?
So the reason Storm over Stalingrad's good is because I mean, just because I'm not in the East Front, I would be really surprised if someone came to me and said, "Todd, I want to play the East Front." I'm like, "What? What have you been?" Anyway, but I can see them wanting to do Stalingrad because they've seen Enemy at the Gates.
You don't watch Enemy at the Gates, and then you play Storm over Stalingrad.
Yeah, that's when they would do it. There's just not a lot of. I know there's some movies now out about East Front that's kind of low level, like the tank ones you've seen, Jeff. You talk about, but most part it's Enemy at the Gates. But anyway, go ahead. That's a good one, McMurray. And the area movements, especially those, storm over part.
And it's the same as
it's pretty easy.
Memoir 44, where you've got cards that kind of tell you stuff like, okay, it's prodding you in this direction, right? Like, it's a good way to kind of manage, so it's not just an entirely free form. Here's a hex mat with a bunch of counters on it. Get after it, because that can be a little intimidating, even coming from other board games. Other than that, now you're killing me. So I was going to say War at Sea if it's something just a little different, right? Except for that's not made right now, and honestly, the reprint from Compass or whatever
that you gave to me
has the extra rules, and it's still a great game. It's just not. Man, that Avalon Hill, I realize it's not the first edition or whatever, but the first Avalon Hill edition is just wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I've seen, I know a lot of these guys, the Russian campaign, 5 different makes, 5 different,
honestly, if they like East Front and like strategic level, Stalingrad is essentially, again, it's not in production anymore.
Right.
It's an old Avalon Hill, but again, you can still find it for $10 online all day long. It's just a shorter Russian campaign, essentially. Having played the 2 of them in I think the same year even. They are so similar.
If you walked into my house today and you said, I want to play World War II, can you teach me something easy to play? I'm going to go grab an SCS game, and that's what I'm going to teach.
See, I would have sat that at like a low intermediate, and I would absolutely agree with Todd that Bastogne. And I've got to give Todd an undying amount of credit.
Today printed games, not something we got to go find. And I'm going to grab it, something current in the SCS. I'm going to say, there we go. Because if they're going to walk into a store to try to buy a game, I mean, unless you find something secondhand or like these. All right, now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. I want to narrow this because this could go on and on and on. What? All right. This is going to be a no-brainer for me and Ross. I know where we're going to go with this, but on detailed games.
Oh, we're not just stepping up the steps. We're going straight from
the bottom rung to the top rung. What is one super detailed game that if you wanted to, somebody wanted to get into that, what's one super detailed, super crunchy, advanced level game, let's say that you would be able to teach somebody to play and probably enjoy it? They would probably enjoy it. Now, this is obviously not going to be a new gamer. Maybe you got a buddy that's been playing light stuff and intermediate stuff for decades, and he wants to step up to something super detailed and super crunchy. Sorry, Ross, but we can't use GBACW because this is World War II.
Yeah, I feel like if you are interested in World War II and crunchy, heavy games, you owe it to yourself to at least try playing ASL. There's a reason people are still playing it 40 years later. A lot of people are playing it. They're printing more shit than ever for ASL because it's really good. I haven't been playing for a few years now, but I continue to buy all the stuff because I'll come back around for sure. I've been getting the itch, actually. And for me, nothing else compares, and that cuts across the Civil War games I've been playing and anything. Nothing else compares to the narrative aspect, the storytelling aspect. If you play even a tournament scenario, a short scenario, 5 turns, whatever, every one of them, not everyone, but a lot of them will come down to one dice roll right at the end, one close combat right at the end. I remember stuff from 15 years ago, certain scenarios I played, and you can do that, and you can play something new every time you play, or you could dig into a campaign game or a historical ASL campaign. You could play the same thing for a year or whatever every weekend and dig in. Your guys start to get personalities in some way. I don't know. For me, that's that. I jumped into the ASL world and don't regret any of it. And also, you can teach someone ASL. Starter kit, I know people love. That wasn't around when I started. I don't bother the people I've taught ASL. I think you can teach ASL in a kind of programmed way to do infantry only and kind of streamline the rules they have to learn as they go. And it's very learnable. You don't have to read all those chapters. You need to know how to use the index in the rule book and be familiar with some general concepts, and you can play ASL. It's not that hard. And then it rewards when you get more into it, like, oh, actually, I want to know how to launch smoke into the second level of that building or whatever. Okay, you learn how to do all that stuff. You don't need to know how to do it to have fun playing right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's okay. Andrew, Super Crunch.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I was about to say, because is there even a miniatures one that is just super?
Oh yeah, you can get way into the weeds, especially with like naval stuff. Todd doesn't necessarily. I mean, Todd's had good times playing Command Decision. That's a crunchier game. I've had good times playing Command Decision. That's a crunchier game. If you want to get like fully into the weeds with some of the older games, you really can. If you want to get way into the weeds with all of the extra kind of stuff you can tack onto Chain of Command, that can be pretty crunchy. Especially like Ross is saying, if you start tying in all kinds of extra stuff, Yeah, but unfortunately with board war games, I got nothing.
Yeah, well, and that's that's kind of an unfair question for me to throw you because that's not your thing.
It's all good. Yeah.
And I get it. Todd, how about you? Super crunchy that you would you would probably enjoy playing with somebody. World War II. I already know where this is going. It's got to be ASL for you because that's. I mean, what about GTS though? I mean, is that an option in your world?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to think of something different than ASL. Just since Ross has talked about it. The interesting thing about ASL is, it is pretty it is pretty amazing all the crazy stuff that happens and the fun stuff that happens during it. And the key is finding a good opponent. I mean, if you want to do tournaments, that's great. I'm just not going to be a tournament guy. I'm not going to learn the rules well enough to play. Although the good thing about playing a tournament is you'll learn a lot more because you're seeing a lot of different strategies, but that's pretty big. But just to say something different, I guess right now I would say GTS. That's probably the most complex game I have that I could actually teach someone or attempt to teach someone. I'm just looking at my shelf here, my 40 games. Yeah, I'd say GTS. Certainly not as complex as ASL, but there's a lot of complexity in the decisions you got to make and all that. So, and it's still being published, and there's some. The problem with that is it's a little bit of an entry because most of the games are like $150 to $200, which is insane. Except for the few, there's a few small ones, but so the magazine's still out there.
Yeah, and it's obviously for me, it's not going to be ASL. I mean, I do enjoy the starter kit stuff. That's not as deep as regular ASL. And I mean, Super Crunch for me in World War II, if I had to teach somebody how to play, it's for me, it's going to be EFS. And granted, I haven't touched that now in a year, but I don't know, just something about the maps and the unit and the counters and stuff in EFS that I really love. So I think that would be the road I would go to. All right, now let's close this out with one last question. I'm going to start with McMurray on this one here. Favorite system sitting in your house right now for you? Andrew, you got to throw out everything you own. You have to take it out back. You have to burn it. You have to throw it in the dumpster. This is the old I'm going to an island question. You get to keep one system. That's hard for him. He's probably got more goddamn miniatures rule books than the three of us.
Yeah, no shit. No shit. Way to drop that on me and then make me go first. For board, god damn, it's not even easy for board games. It'd probably be SCS for board games. For miniatures games, be like late second or early third edition Flames of War.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought maybe. Well, no, because
Chain of Command gives it a good run for its money.
Yeah,
but there's so much. I like playing Market Garden sometimes. Sorry, Rich Clark, put out the book. It's a bit of an inside joke, but either way, probably so. If I'm having to throw everything else out, I have just an obnoxious amount of stuff based for that and done in 15 mil. And the supplements and stuff are not necessarily comprehensive, but good Lord, are they close? Especially for Europe and Africa.
Let's mix this question in with that question, all right? And you can go, I don't care, you can go as far back in time as you want. You got to start completely over as a gamer. And
today?
You can only start with one system. What are you going to start with?
And again, is it today or whenever I want?
Back whenever. I don't care.
Jesus. Especially system-wise. Like scale-wise would be a lot easier of a question. Honestly, I don't know that I would change that. I'd probably push the start back like 5 years, maybe 6 years to when second edition or first edition Flames of War first came out. And just roll through with it. It's Battlefront had a really long, really, really good run with that game. And there's tons of people who really enjoy 4th edition. Don't get me wrong. It's not my bag because it's a very different game than it even was, from its inception and its kind of first principles. But yeah, I mean, I'd probably just play Flames of War for 20 years and rock through, like I said, the entirety of the system up till 4. And again, I want to stress that again. 4th edition is not a bad game. It's just very different from the Flames of War that I started playing, that I played for years and years and years, and I really love.
Okay. All right, Ross, I'm going to give you a little leeway. All right.
Oh, what the fuck? I didn't get any leeway.
Yeah.
Burn all your other stuff. You can only play one thing. Ross, what? If you had to choose 6, what do you
I am going to limit the leeway. You cannot say GBACW.
Oh,
you
I
only
get
get
to
to
be
keep
any
one
period?
system.
No, come on. You got to stick around to the world. Oh, because you might. Okay, never mind.
You only get to keep one system today, Ross. And if you could go back in time and start all over again, what one system would you wish you would have started with?
I mean, if I was going to keep a system, and I'll say even if this could include Civil War stuff or whatever, I would still pick ASL. I've evangelized about it enough. That is, for my past decade and a half, the best gaming memories I've had, the best games I've played, the most fun I've had, the most interesting matchups have been with ASL. I can see that changing over time with more Civil War stuff, especially now that I'm doing some design and playtesting stuff. I'm kind of seeing how the sausage is made on that end, and hopefully can push some stuff in directions I find interesting that haven't been done. But the short answer is I'd play ASL. That is, again, there's so much stuff. I could even probably do with not even the full series. Like, I could probably pick 2 packs or whatever, like Poland and Flames from Bounding Fire, a third-party publisher. That pack alone, and then the Orders of Battle you need, I could probably just play that forever. Great.
Wow, that's
great stuff.
That's an interesting question, Ross, for maybe an ASL thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. What would you, if you had to limit your ASL? That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because I like early war stuff. I like that kind of shitty tin can tanks and stuff. And that pack is incredible. Those guys actually play test the crap out of their scenarios, and they range from, again, tournament size to basically 20 turn, almost campaign size things. And really, I don't think, I'm kind of like McMurray. I don't think I would, if I could go back. It's not like I regret getting into ASL or wish I would have done something else. I do think I could see myself now with how much stuff is out for ASL. I don't know. And I didn't start playing until it was already 30 years in or 25 years in, but there's just so much stuff now. I don't know if I would dip in.
And I will say, and I think that this is probably the reason why I'm not, I've continued to buy the ASL stuff, even though I don't play it, is that there's so much. I mean, you can go anywhere and in any direction in World War II, and there's something there.
And you don't have to buy it all, but if you have the completionist instinct, you're going to buy it all, and you're going to have it all. And it's not, especially if you want to keep up with third-party stuff, it's not easy to keep up with. I kind of gave up on some of that, but
so I'm sorry, Russ. What's that?
I was trying to read the comment, and Jeff had it up for like 30 seconds.
Oh, no, that was me. I did that.
Oh.
So Ross, so you just said if you were to get in now, you don't know if you'd get into ASL.
This guy.
Because of
I would probably look at some of for tactical World War II, I would probably look at some of the other systems. There's almost as much stuff for Combat Commander. Frankly, there's 7 boxes or something now. But Combat Commander is a fantastic system, still supported by GMT. Cool game. You can do everything in there too. Last 100 yards. Again, if you want to get the whole suite of games, it's 4 or 5 boxes now. I just don't know if I would wade into the world of ASL with the amount of energy and time I have now. I had it when I was in college and could dive in and study the rule book and learn all this stuff. I still do that for games now, but they're a little bit more narrow in scope. ASL's just got a lot.
Right.
It's interesting.
All right, Todd.
Wait, why don't you go next?
No. I'm saying no, because I have to address something at the end.
Jeff has the talking stick.
What? You're keeping one system, Todd.
That's pretty much what I've done.
It's BCS.
This is why it should be easy.
It's BCS.
I'm going to take a guess, and you can
Okay.
send me away if I'm wrong. All right.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Send you away. We can knock you out. Sweet. All right, let me get
With-
let me get my
with-
hand on the button.
with Todd is he's got 2 or 3 Pisons that he's playing games with here fairly regularly. Okay, but I'm going to say that I'm going to put you in the same boat. I'm going to say that if you were only going to keep one, you'd keep ASL.
Duh. Now he's got to come up with something different.
Mm.
It's ASL. There's nothing wrong with it.
Here's Alan.
Um,
Not Alan. That's
yeah, I mean, let's face it. I have narrowed my games down to very small number of systems. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking about. I'm dumb. I should have this answer down pat and easy. It's ASL or GTS are my 2 World War II systems that I have right now, and that's it.
Right.
I would probably go ASL too because there are so many. There's so much there, and you can kind of play it at whatever kind of level you want. Honestly,
Right.
Like if you want to not go into all this stuff, well, play a squad. The thing that's what I think would be amazing about it. Like if that's all I had, and I didn't really want to use all the things, and it'd be kind of like a miniature game at that point. Like you've got the scenario. I'm only going to play starter kit level. All right, we'll figure it out. If that's what you want to do.
And that's an interesting question too, because with starter kit, which I'm pretty sure that the progression for them making expansions is going to continue. Will it ever grow to the ASL size? I don't know.
No, I don't
It
think so.
seems to be popular. Do you think that's going to create sort of a wall between ASL players and starter kit players? Is it going to be a block there somewhere, or is it going to sort of like we're talking about GBACW coming out with the basic rules? Is that going to bring more players in? Well, do you think starter kit is bringing more players into possibly regular ASL?
I mean, I started with starter kit and I'm doing full ASL now. It's taken me a few tries, but
I want to hear Todd's miniatures answer too.
so I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's money for MMP. I mean, and that money goes to developing. I know people like complain about it dividing their resources, but I'm like, I don't know, man, whatever. At some
There's
point,
no shortage of stuff coming out. It's fine. They can split their attention.
yeah, I honestly wish they'd reprint some other stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the thing about ASL, now that I've played full a little bit more, there are just a few little things, and they're starting to introduce it a little bit in the starter kit, especially in that magazine that came out. A little bit of sniper, a little bit of concealment, just little things here and there, because the snipers and the concealment add some fun stuff to it. That it's, if you kind of keep it easy, it's not too complicated. So
Right.
And the thing about ASL is that it's a very, most of the scenarios, there are dogs, of course, but if you kind of get a list of the popular ones, you go to the 2 websites that list how many times they're played and the balance, you can find the good ones. And as Ross said, they're going to be close. And again, just like I was saying about Russian campaign, just play the game a bunch of times, play the same scenario, and you're going to see different strategies, play different people. I mean, and different crap's going to happen. And it's going to be some crazy dumb stories like Rich and I, my conscript holding up elite American paratroopers for three sets of, not 3 whole turns, but 3 player turns. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen, but it's hilarious. And then just the dumbest things happen. And that's why it's so funny. I mean, I like GTS because it's a little simpler. The maps are beautiful. It's a little bigger scale, zoomed out. But I'm like, I don't know, man. Just it's all there in ASL. You got I'm all about the historical maps. I know.
What is like when ASL puts out like a full like Yanks, okay, which I guess kind of started it all, I guess, in a way.
No, Beyond Valor did.
Or Beyond Valor. Right. So when they kick out one of the boxes that covers an entire nation or entire couple of nations, whatever, comparatively to the price of that box compared to the price of one of the GTS boxes, where you getting more value from the ASL?
Well, I mean, I guess ASL, because you can play any battle from early war to late war, and You can use
Except for that
Geoboard.
one box isn't going to be a standalone. You're not going to be able to play.
Well,
uh,
yeah.
You're
Right.
gonna. It's assumed you own Beyond Valor and probably Yanks, and the stuff coming out now. It's assumed you own a half dozen other modules.
Yeah, and
At minimum.
that's the struggle with it. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about what I'm going to keep or do, and it'd be that.
Right.
If you're going to ask me about what game I would start with now, that's a really tough one, because I played every Combat Commander scenario, many of them solo. At some point, I just reached a point where, like, I kind of want to have more options about the maps and all the stuff, which is why I moved to ASL. I tried all the others, most of the others, Conflicted Heroes and Lock and Load, and never did try. What's the one, Andrew, that you want to try? Old School
Panzer Grenadier.
Grenadier, yeah. Panzer.
Old School Tactical.
Oh yeah, both of them. Yeah.
But we're gonna give that a go at some point.
Old School Tactical or Panzer Grenadier?
Old School Tactical. I don't care about Panzer Grenadier.
You have that?
No. I figure at some point you or I will get one and we'll try it out together. But you're going to buy it first because I don't have to. Thanks, buddy.
Todd's getting smarter and wiser.
I mean, Band of Brothers was interesting. We don't need to ramble on about all that. But
Okay.
I don't know if there's another tactical system because I've thought about it a million times. And
Right.
I mean, maybe Old School Tactical, but I've not played it, so I can't honestly say. So,
Well,
Miniatures, Todd.
Miniature.
Miniatures. Yeah, go ahead.
and what are we doing here? This is the one I would keep.
Yeah, miniatures.
Oh boy.
But that you've started at any point in time. So it doesn't have to be what you currently have, because right now you just have the stuff that you've retrieved from Toddy's storage unit.
Oh man. Yeah. Can someone else go? I need to think about that a second.
No, dude, I had to go first.
Well, it's gonna be silent. Someone fill a gap while I'm thinking.
Go for it, Jeffy.
Bam.
So if I was going to, I'm not going to lie. If you told me I had to choose something I was going to be able, that I'd play the rest of my life and I could have, it'd have to be the ASL boxes because there's so much there. All right. But if it's by choice of what I really enjoy playing World War II right now, there's not a lot of it out there yet. But I still think, to me, of the systems out there, BCS to me is still the greatest thing. I love BCS. And it's just so fun to play. And you got to work the brain a little bit. You got to account for things. And I love the combat system, in that game. And I love the engagement system in that game. And I know a lot of people don't. It's a little hard to grab. And I still have to constantly look at the rules just to make sure I'm getting it right with engagements and stuff like that and standoff and things. But I like the system. It once you're rolling with it, it flows. And that would be it. Now, if I was going to go outside of the realm of any genre, of course, we know GBACW is going to be my thing. That'll always be around. All right. So, do you have a miniature thing yet? Because I want to kill
I'm going to go with McMurray on this one. I'm going to go second or third Flames of War, and maybe in a little slightly smaller scale just for space and stuff. But 15 is pretty good for that. But I can do it. I could do it in 6 or 10.
And the delightful part about that is then you find yourself a Blitzkrieg Commander rulebook, and you're not really changing. You just bought a book. You didn't change systems. The miniatures were all the same.
Yeah, and playing historical scenarios. So just to answer Ross, you real quick. You talked about the points thing. My whole goal, always going into miniature games, was to play historical scenarios with orders of battle, not the points. I'm not a points guy. I did one tournament with McMurray with bolt action stuff. And I had the experience I thought I would. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, it's fun playing a bunch of different people and seeing a bunch of crazy stuff. But I'm like, it's just not my bag. I mean, it's fine. It was fun.
It's just a good way to get 3 or 4 games in a day.
And I won an award.
You did?
The real estate something award, because I had 3 or 4 buildings collapse on my units and kill them. because of bolt action, when the artillery falls, you stay in the open. You don't get in the building because that's what you do. That's what I learned.
Are you guys? I know I asked Todd already. I mentioned it last night. Are you guys going to grab the command post thing from Neil?
I don't think so. I mean, not right now. I don't think so, because I'm mainly playing Rich in person. So
the what?
All right. So
something for Vassal.
We're going to close this out. I think this is pretty good. All you out there in chat while I kill this elephant in the room here real quick. Let us know. Type in there right now what's your current favorite gaming World War II system that you like to play. You only get one. Let us know what it is, what your favorite system is. And I'm going to go away from World War II for this. So
I think the chat's come up with a few things. But type them out again.
I have been preaching over a few years about Gettysburg 77. Murray's been dropping hints at tonight because I told him about it earlier. So I have attempted Gettysburg 77 3 times.
Advanced.
The second advanced, not the medium game. And I took it down again. I'm not going to shoot any video. I need to. I probably should talk about it in a thing, but I'm not. This is what I want to say. There's a very good game in that box, especially for something that was made in the 70s. Very, very good detailed game. The first edition rules, well, I've gone through them 2 or 3 times. The second edition is really not a change in the rules that the guys did over on the Facebook Gettysburg. I think it's Andreas Gaming. They did a lot of good work. It's not really a change in the rules. I have 2 copies of that game, and I'm not going to let it go. I'm just hoping that sometime in the future, and it's not going to be Hexy, I'm sorry, that somebody will write some rules for that game using all the current counters and the stuff in there that's in there and make that game worth playing, because I think it's a wonderful, wonderful game, and there's a good system in there to be had. So he just needs to do it. But I'm done with it. I took it down. I set up TSR's Cobra over there. I'm going to play that, and that looks like a very easy play. I'm still playing my Borodino game, and God, Band of Brothers or ASL's got to go on the table. I'm bit again, and I think I want it. For me, it's probably going to be starter kit. So I need to get some of that back.
Play Decision of the Else, bro. Make it happen.
Yeah, and I pulled that box out last time I was looking at it again. So Andrew loved the intermediate game in this. I want to play. By the way, Sergeant Todd up there, that's Jerry Todd or Ulan. He makes his own map, which I was using his map. But there's a gorgeous game in there. It's a gorgeous map. Somebody just needs to rewrite this one. And with that, we're going to close this thing out tonight. We've been going just about 2 hours. Everybody showed up tonight. You guys are always awesome. Appreciate all the input. And if we miss any comments, I apologize. You know how to reach out to us. You can get emails off the YouTube pages. And don't know what we're going to do next Saturday. You might be playing a game next Saturday. We'll have to see. We'll see who's got availability, and we'll figure out something. And hey, we'll talk to y'all later. See you. Peace.
Bye. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?